Welcome to Inside Out 2. 9 years later, the sequel has come out. Riley has grown up and is now 13, officially a teenager, and has a chance to meet Drake. Pixar hadn't put out particularly successful movies before this one. They were okay, but still kind of average and boring. But this part of Inside Out looks promising, and at the end of this video, we'll find out if it does. Riley continues to play hockey successfully, and her emotions and harmony help her to be a good person throughout life. Also, beliefs that are made up of memories have emerged and formed self-awareness, and this is how Riley behaves based not on her emotions, but on her beliefs. And just like that, the kids' lecture on psychology began. Riley also got some friends with whom she plays together on the same team, Grace, Bree. In their teamwork, they managed to beat their opponents in a hockey game literally at the last seconds. Because of this, they are noticed by the cool high school coach and invited to the annual training camp so that the girls can prove themselves and possibly get into the cooler team. They are very happy about it. But at home, Riley is afraid that she is not ready for the new challenge and is worried. But her parents support and reassure her. Riley falls asleep, and Joy shows what she came up with between the first and second part of the movie. She decided to send all the bad memories to the dump in the back of her mind, so that Riley wouldn't be stressed out unnecessarily, and she'd be okay. Basically deleting memories that you'd rather not remember, like pooping in your pants in elementary school. Joy and Sadness go to the Belief Storage Center to add another memory to it. Sadness is worried she's gonna mess it up, but Joy cheers her up.
Where I go, you go.
Here we see the result of the first movie, and that the writers did care and continued to develop the characters based on their life experiences. Joy realizes that all emotions are important, and no longer oppresses Sadness. In the middle of the night, the remote control starts making noises that cause all other emotions to wake up. The puberty button is turned on, and it's time to expand the space for new emotions.
Are you the one in charge here?
Agreed. Riley wakes up like any teenager with the most sensitive emotions possible. Her mom immediately realizes what's going on with her and tries to talk to her, but she fails. On their way to a cool hockey team's training camp,
Well, we could finally clean out the garage, or actually...
Riley and her friends are excited about the chance to become new members of the cool hockey team, but Riley realizes that her friends are leaving for another school, which makes their friendship questionable. This of course upsets the girl. Her father is thinking of hitting on more than just his wife.
You sure you don't need an assistant coach? Because I am available.
Hell.
Arriving on the scene, Riley cries and goes to her friends, but is confronted by Valentina. Let's just say it's a hockey crash of girls. Riley tries to have a normal conversation with her idol, but a new emotion voiced by Maya Hawke intervenes: anxiety. In addition to the ADHD emotion, there are others: envy, embarrassment, and French boredom, ennui. I like embarrassment because of his bum piggy bank. Val calls Riley to show her around and introduce her to the other members of the team. Under the command of anxiety, Riley ditches her old friends to impress and create new friends. Joy, of course, is unhappy with this dumping and raises a conflict of emotions, in which anxiety shows her skills at creating fears out of nowhere, just by analyzing, imagining, and being pessimistic about the future. That's brilliant. Riley comes into the locker room of the women's team and is introduced to the players. Later, her friends come in, and they get so into taking selfies that they don't notice the coach. Because of this, the whole team gets their phones taken away, and the other girls are now mad at Riley. What the fuck? Don't tell me this is their first time. Especially when you're at practice and on the ice, do you have time to be on your phone? Okay, let's chalk it up to the movie's conventions. Later, Joy continues to stand at the console, keeping anxiety at bay. So Joy has embraced other emotions, and new ones seem dangerous to her. But because of this, Riley gets distracted by laughing with her friends, causing the entire team to be punished with extra lanes during practice. Then she hears girls talking behind her back, which makes her start to cry. But anxiety comes in and figures out how to fix everything. Befriend Val to get support from her, and she does it well. The girls take to the ice again, but Riley can't choose which team to play for, the team her friends are on, or the team that has her hockey crash. Anxiety tries to push her to choose, but she doesn't give in to her emotions because of her self-consciousness. Realizing that nothing can be accomplished as long as there is self-awareness, anxiety throws the old self-awareness the fuck out, causing Riley to join Team Val. Then anxiety is about to assemble a new self-awareness, and the core emotions try to stop her. But they are immediately grabbed and put in a jar and suppressed in the vault where all of Riley's secrets live. Their Emotions finds a 2D character from children's cartoons who breaks 4 walls even while being in another cartoon.
Who are you talking to?
My friends. Do you see a key?
Riley's Secret Crash, a mix of anti-mage man and woman from Dota 2, and Riley's worst secret that we'll never know about. But hopefully, we'll be told about that in part 3, because spoiler for my opinion, I liked this part much more than the first, and I'll be glad for the sequel to come out. Emotions are taken out of the jar, and the 2D character summons a magic item that gives emotions dynamite, which they use to escape. Meanwhile, Riley is woken up early, in the middle of the night to practice. There she meets Val, who invites the girl to rest with the other girls after the training. At this time, emotions come to the stream of consciousness to go to the self-consciousness and save it. They send Sadness to climb to the central headquarters to summon them from there when they get self-conscious. And they set off on a giant broccoli on a stream of thoughts. It's basically the same as the first part of the movie, but now all the core emotions have been thrown out of the control center and are trying to get back in. Riley's practice for the day is over, and the girls show her a file from the coach in which she writes down everything about Riley. Memorize this moment. Next, they go to eat pizza and talk. Riley is asked about her favorite music group, but she can't name anything other than a children's band. In a panic, anxiety summons up all the memories of other musical groups to seem cool in the eyes of the high school girls. These memories help Sadness get into the emotion HQ much faster and without being noticed. The memories evoked are not enough, and by this, boredom creates sarcasm as a defense mechanism. This disrupts part of the stream of consciousness and cuts off the path for the core emotions. At the end of the night, the team is going to bed, but before they do, they tell Riley that tomorrow is her last game, which will essentially be the final test for the girl. Whether or not she'll make it to the team, it's bedtime, but anxiety has pulled in 6 energy drinks at once to keep Riley awake and thinking about the big match ahead. Meanwhile, other emotions make their way to self-awareness through Imagination Land. There they find a secret base where anxiety creates Riley's fears for the match, about how she'll fail and be hated by everyone. But Joy takes one of the creator positions and creates thoughts that cheer Riley up. Anxiety realizes what's going on, so she calls the police and shuts down her workplace. Joy tries to stir up a revolution among artists. You don't have to work for a corporation. Creativity shouldn't be restricted, or something like that. A war of propaganda between Joy and anxiety begins, in which Joy wins. Fortnite reference. I mean Apple. I mean 1984 reference, not expected, but it's good. In the end, Riley falls asleep with good thoughts and basic emotions run away. But Riley's dream quickly ends when Envy comes up with the idea to see what Coach wrote in her file. Anxiety tries to push her, but Riley isn't quite sure she should do it. But Envy starts to push her, and the girl makes her way into Coach's office. She walks over to the journal and is about to open the personal file, but starts crying. Sadness steals Boredom's phone and remotely starts to change Riley's mood, but she is quickly found and put in a bucket. Riley does open her journal and begins to look up what Coach has thought of her. Unfortunately, she's not ready yet. Back in her room, anxiety calls for a brainstorming session to come up with an idea on how to change Coach's mind. Into this storm come the core emotions. They grab a huge idea and use it to try to escape back to the control panel, but they fail and fall down. But Fear had a parachute with him and they survived. I'm wondering, can emotions even crash and die? So they're mortal? Riley went to the restroom and dyed her hair red. This is a hairstyle that all the members of the team she wants to be a part of have. At this time, anxiety manages to form a new identity for Riley, while the core emotions find the old one. The new emotions start to question anxiety's plan, and embarrassment helps Sadness, and they try to summon the old emotions through the pipeline. But anxiety notices this and breaks the pipe, thus eliminating this escape route. So that's it. Riley will spend the rest of her life living with the emotions of my teenage years. Anxiety, envy, depression, and embarrassment. Actually, no, as long as the core emotions are thinking about what they're going to do next. An important match for Riley starts, and anxiety goes into egoistic mode. And she scores 2 goals. Anger summons a 2D character's magic item and forcefully takes a bunch of dynamite from it. They're going to undermine the base of a mountain of bad memories to ride the resulting avalanche back to the center of belief. But that would kind of mess up the self-image. The explosion and their plan work. Meanwhile, Riley tries to score a 3rd time to show her potential, but she flies into Grace. Poor girl. For this, Riley is sent to the penalty box for 2 minutes. There, alone, Riley begins to experience her first panic attack. It's very realistically portrayed in my opinion, and here's why. All the emotions and memories you've been throwing away and blocking up start to avalanche, and a hurricane of anxiety joins in, and it causes such a rash of bad thoughts that it's hard to stop. Basic emotions manage to get through to the control panel, but anxiety has taken over the situation completely. Joy manages to get through the barrier. There, she tries to reason with anxiety that she has no right to decide which Riley to be. Joy pulls anxiety out of the hurricane and replaces her self-awareness with her own, but it doesn't work. And Joy realizes that she also doesn't have the right to decide who Riley should be. Just at this point, other memories begin to form new beliefs and try to create self-awareness. But Joy's self-awareness gets in the way, and because of this, Joy rips out the self-awareness, allowing Riley to grow as a person, becoming multifaceted. All the emotions come together and embrace Riley. She calms down. She is approached by her friends who notice something is wrong with Riley. Riley talks about what happened to her and apologizes. Grace literally just recently flew off like a sack, and now she listens to how her friend felt bad and apologizes to them. But they forgive her and remain friends. The game isn't over and Riley's penalty time is up. And just as in The Witcher, the path is shown. So for Joy, the path is shown to the control panel. She gets closer and the game continues, but this time Riley is playing for enjoyment rather than trying to impress anyone. Later, Riley sits surrounded by high school girls and waits for the coach to put up a list of new players. Anxiety naturally sets in, but it's handled with the basic idea of stoicism. If you can't make a difference, just f***ing relax. And after a while, Riley gets the message, and here's her reaction. The second part continued the first perfectly, not ruining it, but even improving and expanding on it. The characters continue to develop and learn from each other, and I hope they don't forget that in the next part. Watching the movie, I felt the same emotions that were responsible for Riley's actions. It was at moments awkward, because it resonated back to when I was a teenager myself. And at the end of this part is a development of not only new emotions, in particular anxiety, but also the same joy, which at the beginning of the movie continues to throw out bad memories. And in the end, accept the bad memories too, because without them, there is no humanity. The girl's whole personality starts to build on everything that happens to her, and it changes her so much that she finally is not afraid and becomes herself, and because of that, she is happier. I rate the movie 4 new emotions out of 5 old. Subscribe and watch this video because
the YouTube gods have decided that this is the one you should watch.
And I chose this video myself.